Next panel talks about It Gets Better India. Moderating the panel is Ishaan Sethi. He's a graduate from Brown University, co-founder and CEO Delta App, India's first homegrown app, dating and networking and support for the LGBTQ community. Can I have Ishaan on stage, please? Our esteemed panelists are Ms. Laxmi Narayan Tripathi. A round of applause for Laxmi ji. Laxmi ji is the Acharya Mahamandaleshwar of the Kinnar Akhada, a transgender rights activist, dancer, and actress. Diogo Da Silva. Diogo helped establish one of the It Gets Better project's first affiliates in Europe. He is the It Gets Better project's regional coordinator for Europe, all the way from Portugal. Thank you, Diogo. Anubhuti Banerjee. Anubhuti Banerjee is the Manager IT Customer Relationship Management at Tata Steel. She came out as a trans woman in 2015 and co-leads her company's LGBT plus employee resource group. Alex Matthew. Alex is a 29-year-old open and out gay man. He's famously known as Maya the drag queen. Alex is also working as a PR and marketing executive at the Lalit Ashok, Bangalore. Over to you, Ishaan.
Jai Shri Mahakal. Before we start, I would request Keshav and Joshna ma'am to please come on stage. Yes. Yeah. We are starting the first panel, and as Anjali said, he comes from privileged class, but then when coming from a privileged class and coming from the toppest caste, what our mothers have suffered, that our mothers knows better. Whether my mother comes from a Brahmin class, one of the toppest class, or whether Joshna ji. God could not be everywhere, so he created mother. So as Kinnar Akhada and as an activist, I would first welcome from Kinnar Akhada, Joshna ji. Bhavani ji, Mahamandaleshwar, I request you to garland her for her courage to standing for her son. Thank you.
This is a surprise.
And I take the pleasure of welcoming with my prayers and blessings to Keshav for all his strength to just not being there with the silver spoon, but for having the courage. And even before the foundation, I have known Keshav for standing for the community and only giving love. What you said, what is our Bharat is all about, love. India is all about love, and we function with love. So Lalit Group has always been a house for us. Thank you for being so generous. Thank you. Please wear it. No. I just order one.
Laxmi ji, you have created issues.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much. Sorry.
Not at all. Thank you, sir. Hi, everyone. Good morning. Thank you so much for taking out your Saturday to spend some time with us. What a fantastic opening we've had. I'd like to start by, I read something very interesting the other day. It was about the power of storytelling. And really the fact that no one can deny that often the first step towards driving lasting social change is a conversation. And that is exactly what this is. We're here today to listen to some incredible dialogues. And I'd like to start by first focusing on our panel and looking at all of you and asking you the question about how it got better for each one of you. How did you traverse your journey of self-discovery, your journey of self-acceptance? And how did that intersect with the various goals in your life? And how did you eventually take control and show to the world that it got better for you? Anubhuti, shall we start with you?
Hello, good morning to all, and it's a pleasure to be here. It's a privilege to be here. The reason why I say to be here is because I'm here because it got better. So, as Ishaan was saying, that we've been through a lot in our lives. There have been moments where we did not know if we had a future. We did not know if we would ever be happy. We did not know that even we would be able to express our feelings to someone whom we really wanted to express. But today we all are here because we took some initiatives, started some conversations, and that is what has led to it getting better. For me, especially coming from the corporate sector, it was very important that workplace was one of the homes that I had, even if I'm like not accepted by the rest of the society. If the workplace accepts you, that goes a long way to giving you a standing in a society and a respectful and a fulfilling life. So that's why my initiatives at trying to change my workplace as well as workplaces which are similar to mine are what I think are making it better every day, and I think are very important to me.
Thank you so much, Anubhuti. In fact, for many, yes, an applause, please. For many of us, we want that ideal world where we gain the acceptance of our family or our friends. But often on the journey, a workplace is that family for many who do not find that acceptance. And I think it's so impeccable what the Lalit, what Tata, what Godrej, Parmesh, you have been pioneering as well. Diogo, now you started It Gets Better Portugal, which expanded into It Gets Better Europe, and you're now the regional coordinator. I'd love to know from your journey, how did it start? What were some of the challenges you faced? And how did it get better for you personally? And that translate into the movement and your motivation to start It Gets Better Portugal?
First of all, thank you for having me. It's a pleasure. My first time in India, and it's so good for these reasons. I can join two things that I like, that is traveling and doing some activism and talk to you about that. So I have to tell you that I'm coming from a traditional Portuguese family, from a rural area, just outside of Porto, that is the second city. And I remember that things start getting better for me. Not like that, but they take always sometimes. When I stopped to being fear of being myself, stop having fear of trying things, new things, talking about issues. And only when we do that step, and it's a very personal step, when we found out who we are and want to do something about it, is when we stop being fear or stopping being afraid of the future. I started quite young. I was 15 at the moment, and I started in school, trying to do something that it didn't exist at the time, that was sexual education in school, where we talk about specific topics like discrimination or bullying, etc. Meanwhile, I started another organization in 2009, but only in 2012 I saw, because I remember seeing the first video in 2010, and how inspiring it was, because it's the first time that I see an organization not only appear in public just because something wrong happened, something I've been beaten or discrimination, but they were spread examples of people like me. And I felt so inspired as a young man that I really want to bring back to that in my own language, in Portuguese in this case. So I reach out, It Gets Better, and they give me the privilege to start Portuguese affiliates. Meanwhile, it's spread in other countries in Europe, in Spain, Austria, Greece, Italy, Moldova, and now even in Russia. So for me, it's a project that grew up with me, and I grew up with the project. The simple fact that they invite me to be the one that I'm here, if I told to myself 10 years ago that that will happen, I will not believe it. So it got better, and it gets better even more because of one thing. There is people on their own communities in their own countries that wants to do better and wants to change the reality. And that's that brave way of living that we should applaud today. And thank you for having me, and thank you for this.
Thank you so much, Diogo. In fact, just to echo what Mr. Suri said this morning as well, you don't have to be part of this community to believe in equality. You have to simply believe in equality and the idea that everyone has a right to live a life of dignity, and we all play a certain role. Alex, Maya, the drag queen. Now, we've had a couple of discussions before as well about your journey, and I think it's such a powerful narrative. Could you tell us a little bit about your journey, how you grew into your ideal of Maya, the drag queen, and how Mayama was born as well?
So I was born in a typical traditional Malayali Syrian Christian family, and being gay is a sin. So for me, for any form of thinking about being gay was like sin, and I used to pray to God saying that please remove these thoughts from my brain. But, but then as it gets better, I got to know about myself. I started loving myself more. I would say I owe it to Bangalore as well, Bangalore queer community, to educate me about being gay and being accepting the way I am. Giving me a platform in places like there was one restaurant or resto pub known as Humming Tree where I was able to perform as Maya, as everybody calls me. And it's from there that it was a slow process. It was like, I was like, I have to get out of corporate sphere if I have to, perform as Maya. I went into content writing, I got into PR, I got into marketing. With that, I got to know that this is me, and I need to be in a space where they accept me the way I am, as Alex and Maya. It got better for me, frankly, when I met Mr. Keshav Suri. And it was just because of one performance at Kitisu that changed my life. Now I'm working here currently as a PR and marketing executive of the Lalit Ashok Bangalore. And I owe it to the Lalit group of hotels for accepting me the way I am, and it got better for me, and it's getting better for me, so yeah.
Laxmi ji, where do I begin? A film actor, a veteran activist in our community. You were one of the petitioners that led to the landmark verdict by a Supreme Court recognizing the third gender. Please tell us about your story, some of the challenges you faced, and how it got better, and you continue making it better for all of us as well.
From where shall I start? It got better for me when I said no to my abuser from the age of 6 till 14 when he abused me. And then at the age of 14, I had the guts to say no. The world changed, it got better. When I met Ashok Rao Kavi, when he said the world is abnormal and I'm normal, then the world got better. In Maheshwari Garden with my doll, I still remember I met Ashok. So I call him my mother, but she's my stepmother nowadays. I'm her Cinderella. Okay. I got better when in 2006, for the first time, I went internationally in Canada and found a husband in Anjali Gopalan. And she taught me the tricks of speaking your mind from the podium, and the world for the first time saw a hijra, the traditional Indian transgender person. I was like a zoo in a zoo, I was like an animal in the cage, where the trans community went, go, oh, she's a hijra, they're divine. But over here, I was treated like a shit. My whole human existence was wiped out. It got better when I had this exposure and I saw the different world. It got better when I went for the Civil Society Task Force on HIV/AIDS. And I touched my Tiranga, my Indian flag over there. I was proud as a hijra, coming all the way to New York and touching my flag. And that time I was proud, and it became really better. I thought, oh, wow. It got better when there was so much of controversy, and people said, she's a bitch, she's a bad girl. So I said, good girls go to heaven, and bad girls go everywhere. Boy, welcome to my club. It got better. It got better with all my stories and controversies, right from those reality shows to film and to being on in the frames of these famous photographers. So I knew, and one thing I came to know, the day I came to know I'm no more Laxmi Narayan Tripathi, I'm a product. It is taxing, but it got better. I knew the art of selling myself. And it's necessary. I never knew that after the Supreme Court's judgment, of course, thank you, I had legal boyfriends like Anand Grover who brought me legalities into my life and taught me the art of fighting, that not sitting quietly in your house and, drinking coffee. One morning I get a call and he said, what are you doing, bitch? You need to be in the Supreme Court. And my book, Me Hijra, Me Laxmi's copies were sent to the judges, and it got better. And I never thought right from the first paragraph itself, my name will be encarved in the Nalsa judgment. I was proud. It got better. It got better when I have this big family all over the world from my community. LGBTIQ, I don't even care. You can do anything in your bedroom and still, with love, it is all about love. And people who hate me is also love. They love me so much that they hate me, isn't it? And then afterwards, it got better when I became the high priestess. Hallelujah. You're not sinner, my child. The people who claim you sinner are sinners. Don't judge me. The Pope has said, yes, don't judge us. Means for me, when we started the Kinder Akhada, so I became the first feminine object in the Hindu, not the Vedic Sanatan Dharma, but the Hindu patriarchal religion. Among the 13 congregations, we decided to reclaim a lost position. So the first Kinder Akhada got into existence, and out of nowhere I was chosen as the Acharya Mahamandaleshwar. It got better. It got better because for the first time it was seen that it is Dev, Danav, Yakshi, Gandharva, Kinnar, Apsara, Sant, Mahatma, Sadhu. Am I right? We are demigods. I said, oh, where are demigods, Then one more shloka comes out is that Dev, Danuj, Kinnar, Narishrini, Tino, Mahajati, Sakal, Triveni. So, Dev, Danuj, the Devas, the demons, the Asuras, and Kinnars. And Nar Mishrini hai. Nar is man, woman, and all the categories. But we claim we are demigods. So all queers are demigods. So we don't need to be. We can judge men and women. Come to that aura of life. It got better. It got better when the 13 congregations went against us and they said they are not allowed. I said, but my scripture says I'm there, pure and pious. You don't need to count in my sins. See, I come from a land where is Ganges. One dip will wash away my sins. You think about yours. It's chill. Or if I see Narmada, my all sins are washed. I come from that land. It got better. It got better when I met Keshav and many others who are ready to take away the chariot more forward with vigor in creating that change. And today it is even getting better that we have started the Keshav Suri Foundation, and I believe this platform we fight, Hana Mama Ashok, we fight a lot. Yes. We fight, we shout, but it is only inside the boardroom. And I have been always like that. It is in the hall, I will fight. Outside, again, I am your friend. Who will know me, knows me that way. And it got better that today, I believe this, Keshav, this foundation of yours will create that platform, that immaterial to all the differences, we stand together. And it is necessary now in India to create that it gets better. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Laxmi ji. With various social movements, it's difficult. It often feels, if you're an activist or working in such a campaign, sometimes perhaps thankless. Sometimes you wake up thinking, am I going to see this change within my own lifetime? I mean, at 27, I never expected Section 377 was going to be read down. Up until the day before.
27?
Yeah.
I'm 16.
So I genuinely didn't. I had no idea. Now, I think what I would like to focus on with the next question is, how do we stay resilient? We're embarking on this journey. There will be challenges. There will be people who may not agree with the mission, but how do we continue to persevere? And I think we all come from various backgrounds. From the corporate space, how can we stay resilient? From how do we make It Gets Better India an international movement? How do we get our stories out there so that countries like ours can benefit from our example? And Maya, Laxmi ji, I'd love your thoughts on this as well. So Anubhuti, perhaps we can start with you again. Thank you.
Yeah. I take that as a directed question is, what actually happens for corporate India now that 377 is gone, and everyone is asking what happens now? What does corporate India do now once that 377 is gone? This question is something that I'm facing, I'm having to answer at a lot of different places. What I see is 377, the judgment, the IPC, was always a kind of a shield behind which many organizations could always stand behind and said, okay, we accept you, we understand you, but you're not legal. And as long as you're not legal, we cannot be seen as accepting you. We cannot be seen as embracing you. And with this judgment going away, I think for the first time, that shield is no more. For the first time, corporate India has to face into the eyes of the LGBTQ community, of every youngster and every person who is a stakeholder in corporate India, to look them in the eye and tell them that yes, now the onus is on us to make it better. So what it means for corporate India is that now it is going to be almost a competition for making workplaces better at every company that is in India. Now, any company cannot stay behind. Now, when I'm talking about the Tatas very recently have started a lot of movements about LGBT. One of them was started by my own organization, which is called WINGS, which is an employee resource group, which very recently was recognized as a best practice across the whole Tata group. It's an example which everyone else is taking. I remember we've got calls from companies like Mahindra, we've got calls from companies like Jaguar Land Rover, and everyone is talking about that, yes, and Tata Steel has taken such a big step. Why are we staying behind? Why are we behind? Why are we not talking about it? Because ultimately, it is one company improving the other, because whether it is competition or whether it is business, we all can move forward only together. And it is through events like this where I get to meet a lot of people, we get to network a lot of people who are in the corporate space, who are in different spaces, and we get to learn so much about each other and take this knowledge back to our organization, back to our workplaces, and we speak about it. And that is how it is getting better in corporate India.
Thank you so much, Anubhuti. I've been signaled that while our conversation is incredible, we have 5 minutes, and the corporate aspect will be touched upon in much more detail in one of our dedicated panels. Diogo, how do we amplify these voices? If you could tell us quickly, how do we kind of make this go viral and make it an exemplary movement, not just for our own country, but for others who may not have even seen the progress we have up until last month?
So I think there is no unique formula, but I think what happened, and seeing all affiliates around the world, is obviously it gets better is known by when public figures make their own videos, like Barack Obama, Hillary Clinton, Lady Gaga. When this type of person, they made the videos, obviously appears in what we call the regular press. But the truth is the project is a social media project. It used the power of a social media that is the most democratic way of talking with each other and show them that everyone can do the video. And saying this, the videos that are become more viral around the world are the videos for common people. People that decided to wait, to give a little bit of their time, to sit down and take their phone and make a video. Like if they were talking with themselves 10 years ago. And that honesty and that power of storytelling is what literally makes this movement happen. It gets better values, is uplifts, empower, and connect. So it's a very simple idea. It's nothing that nobody can do it. So, but we like to spend more time taking pictures of the plates that we are eating and post it online than thinking about what can I give to someone that could pass the same that I was passing in the future. The ending of fear allows you two things. That is, first, being ourselves, and second, remember that we have struggles in life. It gets better. Don't want to raise the fact that it's difficult life. Sometimes we are victims of bullying or discrimination. It gets better once to remember that there is a possibility of being successful, being happy, have a family, and can be ourselves. I'm an example of that. I never imagined getting out of my small village and could travel around the world. But the truth is, I've been invited for several places. Even my great accomplishment was now this year when I was invited for 3 weeks in the US by the Department of State, what was a very good journey because Trump right now is on the government. So it was a very, very good experience to see the US right now. So what I think the challenge now in India is spread this word and challenge every one of you in this room to give back 3 minutes of your life. It's the time that you have to grab your phone and use the power that you have in your hand to spread the word and show everyone that is possible. I just want to say one last thing. I'm coming from a country that 10 years ago, if you say the word gay in public, people will freeze. And now we have so many different organizations. We have parents that they create their own organization and they represent the parents that have LGBT childs. We have school teachers. We have psychologists. We have students. We have young people that create their own organizations. So in 10 years, everything can change. I believe that will happen also in India. So have hope and fight back because that will happen.
Thank you so much, Diogo. You heard him, everyone. I'm counting on at least, we're 250 people here, at least 250 It Gets Better India videos before we leave the Lalit Delhi today. Come on, everyone. My panelists, I must apologize, we're severely short on time. I'd like to just take this time to get 2 questions, if we can, from the audience. And are there any questions?
One thing I wanted to
yes.
ask, only one thing. As an activist, if it has to get better, we have to come together and demand the Prime Minister's office, who, even after 2019, that Sabka Saath, Sabka Vikas, we all are also part of India. We need to be, one thing is that we have to show our power as a community, that our vote banks do matter, With the Ministry of Social Justice, we should see the entire queer community's proper mapping and census is done so that the government realizes our numbers, because with numbers, things do change in this country. And one thing, if we are in the capacity, like if I was in the capacity, we started Kinnear Services Private Limited, but not on CSR funds. We can compete, we should trust our abilities, and we should create a different space for us.
Thank you so much, Laxmi ji. Yes. Any questions for the panelists? Parmesh, yes.
Yeah, so I want to follow up on what Laxmi said and also address what Maya said earlier. I think it gets better in so many ways, and I appreciate all the online campaigns. But what we really need at this point in this country is economic activity. Yes. Maya's life changed when she worked at an organization which was friendly. The last National Human Rights Survey put 92% of trans people in this country don't have jobs. So it really gets better when you start thinking of it as economic empowerment as well. And, you know, Keshav and the Lalit group can do only so much. I think it's imperative that we reach out to other corporates, other organizations, and the government itself. Like the Kochi Metro has started a small project of trans employment, but we really need to push for this because it gets better when you can, you know, engage in economic activity and really, really have a better life. So
Absolutely.
I hope everyone in this room really thinks of it from that lens.
Absolutely. And in fact, piggybacking off of what you said.
FICCI is one organization which has the biggest responsibility, much more bigger than, it is not only supporting a foundation. This is just a start for you all to realize that there are big corporate houses, there are big business people, but if people from the queer community come up, FICCI's responsibility becomes much more, because I have seen families, I have seen tycoons of business having their own CSR funds rooted in their own organization. So आप ना कैसे पकड़ो या ऐसे, पैसा तो आप ही use कर रहे हो. Where it is going, you know. So this is really sad. I don't have money to give Botox and lip jobs, you know, to look much more beautiful. But in 10 years, I don't want to see that because of the society exclusion, my community people are selling their bodies for 50 rupees, 100 rupees, or begging at the scorching sun at the signal. And this is a reality. This will only change when organizations like you will create that space and open your doors, as the Lalit did. See, when we started, Kinnear bottles are there. When we started, the first business was given by Lalit Group of Hotel. And I thank Joshna ma'am and Keshav ji for giving us that business. Then Vistara followed, then others are following. But then it requires, it is not only one person's, because Joshna ji has a gay sun show. No, we competed with, we have certificates, everything done. I'm not there over here to have sympathy. I can work with strength. We need a chance and with dignity. No compromise on the dignity. If FICCI will come out very strongly on that, we can fight big battles.
Thank you. You know, and just to close, I want to stress on one thing that Mr. Suri and I were also discussing. This is an action-oriented conference. We will have discussions, but we must translate our conversations into actions. We've made this very easy for everyone here. There is a pen drive in your thank you basket. It has an equality pledge in it. Print it out, sign it. There are organizations such as Delta who will come and help you with sensitization workshops. We will help you set the right policies. We will help you meet the right people. It's time we put our actions where our words are and really go forward. I want to take one special second to thank Jyotsna ma'am, Keshav, the foundation, everyone here, all my panelists, and my very courageous mom who's sitting there today. She has supported me endlessly, and thank you so much, Mom.